after we get the shaft on, and you'll notice it's a little tricky to get on because there's a tiny open spot in between the splines, but you want to line up this mark right here with this little dot right here, and they all have the same mark, the same dot. Sometimes you can get them on backwards. What I do is I'll put the spring on, and then I get the arm halfway down, and then I'll just pull the spring from this side and clamp it on right there. Now, in order to hold this on, we have a little bolt and a little nut right there that holds that on. So you just want to tighten that down. Then we have two more pieces that go with it. This is is for your brake cable, and it goes right here. Whoops. Okay, and then your brake cable goes through this, and this is your adjustment on the other side. And as you turn it, as the brakes wear, and as you turn it, the brake will adjust. It will, you can tighten it or lower it. Then what we have is your brake or cable will go right through here, and then through this nut right here, or this piece, and then this will go on the end. Now I'll give you a good tip for adjusting brakes. We'll get our spare wheel up here. Now this works on back brakes, front brakes, everything. First of all, we have the wheel and the brake, and it's on the bike right here. Okay? And here's this is your brake cable, and this is your brake cable. That's your speedometer cable. Speedometer cable just fits in with this little shaft dealie, and then you just put a screw to hold it in. But suppose that you have your wheel on here and it's spinning around, okay, freely. Now to adjust your brake correctly, the way I do it is I will screw in the adjustment, and as I screw in the adjustment, it will tighten the brakes. Now the wheel is spinning, okay, freely. I tighten the adjustment until the brakes grab the wheel and stop it. So your brakes are on. Then you back the nut off a couple of turns and you're adjusted. And it works with the same with the back wheels too. You can, these both have an adjustment on the back here. Right there. You can see the nut right there. And on this side right here. And what I'll do is I'll prop up one side of this motor and spin the wheel, and then tighten the nut until the wheel stops, and then I'll loosen it a couple of turns, and the brakes are adjusted. Usually moped brakes don't wear out that much because they aren't using that much resistance. So I've rarely had to change them. They'll last forever, as long as you keep oil off them and you just keep everything in good order. But that's the way you adjust them, and there is no adjustment up here on the handles. It's all done right at the wheel. They're all the same like that. I'll put this down. So anyway, that's the way we rebuild the brakes. You can see that these are both the same. Now, like I said, the hard part is getting this off and on. Now, what I found is, see, this spring is off right here. What I found is you put it in this hole right here, and then you pry it around this stud right there. Okay, and then you only have this edge to use a ice pick or so and pry it in there, and it'll work perfect. But as you can see, the brakes are very similar, and if you look on the other side, you'll see where, and on this one you can't see it that well, maybe you can, but if you look very closely you will see a line etched in the spline, the shaft, and then there's the dot it lines up with. And of course we have this one doesn't have the, well, yes it does. There's the regulator, you can see it right there. And see, if you were adjusting your brake and you adjusted it to where it was tight, right about there, where that arrow and that triangle line up, then that means your brakes have worn down enough to where you need to replace them. It's called a brake wear indicator. So this wheel right here is shot. It's bent. I don't know how it got bent, but that's what was causing the problem. I thought it was the bearings. It's not. Maybe I can save the bearings out of the wheels. The wheel's shot. So I've got another wheel over here that I've got some gold paint, and I'm going to sand this up and spray it in a gold color, and then I'll have to redo the back wheels. Now the next thing that we'll do in the video series is I've completely torn apart the where'd it go? Oh, the gas tank right down here, and inspected it, and these are all the parts that came off the gas tank. So we're going to look at the gas tank and all of its related parts, and after we do the gas tank, I'm going to, I took this oil reservoir off. This is very important. This oil reservoir, and it was covered with, actually it was a good thing, it was covered with a really fine dirt on this from the wheat fields where the guy was driving it. And you can see what it's done is actually it's kind of coated the cables and everything and protected them. Made them a little dirty, and there's your oil tank sender right there, and we'll go through that, and I'll go through as I have time. We'll rebuild this whole thing just to make it look, just to go through it. And the mopeds are really pretty simple, but you want to make sure that you have your tank, everything clean in it. There's no, and you can notice, if you notice in there, there's a oil plug, oil filter, and that goes up into the bottom here, and then this plug goes on, and then this hooks on. This is very important because it holds your two-stroke injector oil, which is right over here. Sorry about the mess, but, and that's what we use. I use the blue Honda oil. It lasts for a long time. What the sender unit does for this is once the oil reaches a lower level, what happens is, and you'll never let it go that low. You don't want to. But this light will go on. This red light. They all have a red light. I have a red light on my Dio over there too. So that'll tell you it's low. If you let it run out of oil or anything like that, you'll seize the motor. You'll really screw it up. So that is how you adjust brakes on a Honda GYRO or a Honda Elite moped or a Dio. Next up is the fuel tank inspection.